All right, so we should be live right now, but before we kind of get things underway, is there anything that you want to plug or anybody want to shout out?
Uh, shout out to Lake Highland. Shout out to Louisville. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, sounds good. Well, anyways, I want to talk about that Louisville commitment. I guess before we maybe I want to have more of like a opinion-based question about it. I saw something ages ago, some college basketball like pregame show. And there's this guy who was saying like, do you call it Louisville or Louisville? And this guy's like, no, it's called Louisville. So what do you think it's called?
Yeah, I started saying Louisville all the time. Every time I'm like, oh yeah, Louisville. And they're like, it's Louisville. And like it's like now I'm so used to saying it that way. But before I used to say like how it looks, Louisville, but it's not. It's Louisville, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if this is like a true like memory or not, but I know I was actually calling it since that day. I'm like, oh, it's Louisville, Louisville, Louisville. But then like so I said it out loud. My friends are like what? And my little brother, who's like a genius, I think was like, yeah, no, like that's wrong. It's Louisville, and I'm like, fine, whatever. Like people on TV call it that, so I'm like, he had the evidence, so that's kind of why. But
yeah,
I'm definitely curious about.
Yeah, it's definitely a tricky word, a tricky school. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And now we kind of get into that decision a little bit. I just take us through like the timetable as like when they offered you to when you decided to commit and all that stuff.
When did they offer? They offered me last summer. I remember I think I was closing on my AAU season, and Coach Purcell called me and he was like, girl, like we need to get you, we're offering you right now, we need you to come to Louisville. And it was just like the excitement was just like the biggest part of it. Then I just kept talking to them. I mean, I was talking to tons of other colleges, but it was very consistent with Louisville a lot. And I just, the excitement with getting on the phone with them. Shout out to Coach JP. That's who I was talking to the most. She's the recruiting coordinator for them. So I definitely like we have a close bond, and it was just fun talking to her, you know. So that and talking to Coach Walls and just the kids that they were bringing in, like for example, Peyton Verlis, class of 2021. She is an awesome player. I remember we were at USA and she had the corniest, she had the socks high. And I was like, oh Lord, this girl, she came in balling. She made the USA team. I'm just so proud of her, but I'm so excited to play with her. I'm so excited to play with Haley. But yeah, so I just kept talking to them. And then I was talking to my parents and I was like, if Louisville really turned me down, I would cry. Like, and I don't know what I would do because that's not like that's the only school I would want to go to. So after tons of talking week to week, I was like, all right, I just want to make this decision now so I can have it case closed, not have to worry, you know, because I came out with my top 5 and then I gave it a little bit and then I committed. But I'm so happy with my commitment. I don't regret it at all. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you did regret it, you probably wouldn't be committed to there anymore. But you said like if Louisville turned you down, you would cry. But like, what like is it? Are you saying that because like they may have had full like scholarship spots? Like, I mean, they obviously offered you, so why would they turn you down?
Well, it was just like they were telling me like it could be a possibility that someone in your spot could commit before you, and we would have no choice but to tell you that we can't continue to recruit you. So, and it happened to me with Duke. That was my first time when they called me and told me. So it really hurt really bad. So I just don't want to like have that feeling again with a school that I actually want to go to.
Yeah. Is that stressful? Because like I'm sure the recruiting process is stressful, just decide which school's best for you. But then on top of that, and like I know it's how it works is, there's only like, a certain amount of spots that schools could offer scholarships for. So is that kind of adding a whole other level of stress where it's like you want to take your time and you want to make the best decision, but then you take too much time and it's all going to be taken away because all the spots got filled. So does that just add on like a whole other stress level due to the whole recruitment process?
Yeah, I mean, it's not even that it's stressful. It's just like the idea of like geez, like I could really have all these schools, but I really have to choose one. You get what I'm saying? So like I can't just sit on 15 schools, continue to talk to them. I really need to boil down to who can I really see me playing for, and who I could really like see myself having a future with, who can help me get to the WNBA. You follow me? So I think like it was a great process. I don't think it was stressful. It was stressful when they released the date of September 1st where they can call us. That was that first week, it was like my phone was blowing up and it was kind of like, okay, can I get some rest? But aside from that, like it was good. Yeah.
Yeah. Could you kind of like touch on that a little more? Because for other guys, it's like everything was so stressful until that date when the coaches can contact them directly, because then it's like, all right, now I'm finally getting all these offers. Like now I can kind of relax a little bit. Like why was the day when, your phone was blowing up with coaches? Why was that kind of more stressful than before?
Because like I would like sit down at dinner and it would be like, and then like it would be one coach and then another coach, and like it's they understand also. So they would be like, oh, I understand you've been talking to a lot of coaches, and it's just like the idea of like that's what it really feels like. You know what I'm saying? Like you're so used to calling them, but now they can call you. So you don't have to rely on, oh, I got to call them this day, this day. It's just they call you. But I mean, it just was kind of stressful because like it took away from my family time, so I would have to, call this person back, before I go to bed and stuff. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess you could say like I could barely relate to that, but I kind of found like a similar connection. Like when I just started doing this thing, like I was grinding like crazy. So, like basically like, I would go to bed, I'd stay up till 3, 4 in the morning. This over the summertime, 3, 4 in the morning, DM tons of players. Then, as soon as I got a DM, like I like freak out. I'm like, oh, I see guys, like, I gotta handle it. And then I was like running for a company, and I was like, now I'm like, yeah, I gotta get my school done and like everything, and relax too. So I barely write for them anymore, but now I write more like once a month instead of like once every single day. And I remember like there was always news happening, like the most irrelevant news, but I was like, I just wanted like to write so bad. So I read about like everything, and so I had my this guy's like Twitter notifications on for like all his tweets because he got all the news. So I go upstairs writing an article. I'm like, see guys, like it is very very, very annoying, I guess you could say. But like the one good part I feel like is, players, people say just in general, like you don't want like a one-sided relationship. So I guess you'd say it's kind of good to think about on your part where, the coaches are now contacted. Like it wasn't where, you were just always calling them and everything and they were just like wasting your time. Like it shows that they actually wanted you as well. I guess it's kind of cool.
Yeah. It's definitely just something where you can't just take for granted, because not everyone has these opportunities. So although it is kind of stressful, at the same time, I'm very thankful because I could I really could be going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So I just really I'm thankful for it every day. So yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure like when your recruiting process just started, you were probably like going crazy with every coach you spoke to. But then like when did you kind of get to the point where you kind of realize like it's okay to not answer this call and that call? Like I'm allowed to kind of live my life a little bit and balance.
Well, it just came from communication, like just talking to them and them just saying like, it's okay if you don't answer my call this day. Like we're still going to recruit you. Just like the insurance that I'm still going to be like their top recruit or things like that. I think that's just definitely like one of the big things for me. I don't like colleges that pressure me into committing or trying to get me down here because I got to take it one step at a time. So just the patience of it. Like I could tell which colleges were very patient, and those colleges tended to stay with me a little bit longer. But the ones that were rushing me, I definitely let go, or the ones that weren't calling me as much, I definitely had to eventually let go and just realize, they're paying attention to someone else a little bit more, or they lost a little bit of interest in me, but they don't want to admit it. So just things like that. But just communication was very, very key.
Yeah. And talk about, you said you made a top 5. I mean, obviously it's kind of relevant now, but just out of like just curiosity, what I guess what were the 4 other schools that were in that top 5?
North Carolina, NC State, FSU, Louisville, and what's the last one? Georgia Tech. Yeah.
So I think those were all ACC schools. I think, right?
Yes. I'm an ACC player.
Yeah. Is that at all like kind of coincidence, or did you want to play in the ACC over any other conference, or how'd that all work out?
What's crazy is I really didn't pay attention to it like that until like the guy that was making my edit, he was like, "Oh, all ACC schools," and I was like, "Oh, dang, yeah." But ACC is probably the hardest conference, so I think like I'm gonna take it. ACC brings in probably the best players in the country, so it just projects me on a different level, and being able to play in that conference really shows a lot of confidence and me being able to play in general. ACC, I personally, I didn't really look at it like that, but like, yeah, but I think ACC is probably the best conference in my opinion. So yeah.
And what I sorry, I was gonna say what I kind fool instead of like find cool. I can't believe I always did that. But what I find cool about those like big time conferences, because when I go to school, I'm at least for right now, I want to be like the school's manager. That's what I do at my high school. So in college, I want to do the same thing. And I'm pretty sure what I've heard is it's more fun when you're traveling around everywhere. So if I go to a more smaller conference, like I'm not gonna travel around as well. Like I know like the school FGCU's conference. It's like basically all in Florida. So, it's obviously still kind of cool. Like you still got to drive far someplace and stay overnight. But when you're in the ACC, you're traveling, to a different state all the time. You're going from Kentucky to Georgia, North Carolina, Florida, New York. Like it's a lot of states all over the place. Which maybe away game or which trip are you maybe the most excited for when you get to college?
I'm excited for the trips where we go to like the tournaments, like in the Virgin Islands or whatever. That's what I'm excited for. Or like I've really been to like states like that, Virginia, New York. I've been to places like that, but I think the best part is like going to a different like country basically, and playing basketball there and playing against someone that's not in your conference. So I'm very excited for things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned the whole like different country thing, and I think the last person I did interview was with. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, last person I interviewed was with Team USA, and he played with them. And you said that you were at like a Team USA camp. Did you happen to play on the team or no?
No, I didn't make the team, but I'm definitely counting on being invited again whenever they bring it back up. But that's the great thing about Louisville is their whole staff is a part of the USA team, so it gives me a little boost of me being ranked number 11 in the country, that pretty much says it for itself. So like, yeah, but when I went to USA, I wasn't ranked at all. So it's skyrocketing for me, and I'm trusting the process. But it was a great experience. It was my first time going up there. So in Colorado, the altitude is really bad. Like I didn't really play my game like that. So, and that was about 3 years ago. So yeah.
Yeah, and that was actually a question I asked him. He happened to make the team, but he also like, I guess what he explained to me is it wasn't like they didn't like some players. It was more they just almost picked a group of guys that all like fit together. Like this guy, he may be ranked top 60 in his class, but I don't think he is. Like I don't know, that's kind of what he explained to me, because it was just like such a humbling experience. Obviously for you said you weren't ranked or anything, so I guess maybe if it happened to you now, it'd be a little more humbling. I guess back then you were more of an underdog there, but like. I guess how humbling was it though, because you probably thought inside on this is a great basketball player. Then you're going here and everyone there is just so elite. And you're watching these like 5 stars getting cut from a team. Like you never have to worry about your whole life. And all of a sudden you're like getting cut from something. How humbling is that experience?
It just left a piece of hunger inside of me. Like even us losing Geico, like things I love like things like this happening to us, because in general as people, because it helps us take a step back and look at ourselves and see what we need to work on, and not just always go around thinking we're right or always thinking that we have everything set. Because at the same time, there's someone while you're sitting in this room in the gym thinking about you. When they see you, they want to tear you up. They want to embarrass you. So you have to go in every time with the mentality that I'm not ranked. Rankings don't mean nothing, because at the end of the day, you could have a bad game and someone could be like, oh, why is she ranked number 11? She didn't play good. That's why rankings, it's like a name. And some people do believe in it. I do believe in it for certain things like McDonald's All-American, Jordan Rank Classic. But in general, I think it's just a label. But at the end of the day, we're just basketball players. Like, we don't need a number. We don't need to be known as, oh, she's the number one player in the country. You know, I think at the end of the day, that's not really going to matter when you get to college. It's not. You start at square one. So I think Team USA, things like that, it just helps you to humble yourself and realize, like, there are other girls that are you have a target behind your back. Every time you walk on that court, you have a target behind your back and someone's coming to get you every time. So yeah, that's kind of the mentality that I developed over this year.
Yeah. And you brought up kind of how, you know, the Louisville coaches are going to give you, I guess, maybe a little boost on making that team. But like, if you think about it, almost like how rankings don't matter, like, you know, you playing on, even if you made the Team USA team and like winning a gold medal, like that I don't think you get any money from that. Like you really get nothing from that besides an experience. So even though like probably a bucket list item to win a gold medal, just to be a little like devil's advocate kind of thing, like why do you want to play for Team USA when really like it won't really do much for you?
I just think like just sitting, like when I have my kids and them talking to me saying, oh, mom, what did you do? And like, you know, having the jersey hanging in my house or having the gold medal. It's just when you look at it, like those days when you hate that you have to wake up tomorrow morning or hate that you have to go work out right after practice. I just think looking at that, regardless, it just helps you know, like, okay, you made it this far. Like, regardless of what trials and tribulations, you made it this far, and there's no reason for you to give up. So I just think, like, yeah, you don't get paid for it, but that's kind of the question. Do you really love basketball that much to where it doesn't matter if you get paid? So that's how I am as a person. I love basketball. I started in 6th grade. So I'm a late bloomer, if you want to call it, but I'm not like these 2 years old. I had basketball in my hand. No, I was a dancer before I was basketball. So for me coming this far, it's I have to give myself a pat on the back for this one. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, I don't care about getting paid. Like, as long as I'm happy with having basketball in my hand and being able to represent my country right now, that's pretty much it. I mean, not right now, but when our country gets straight, yeah.
Yeah. What dancing were you doing before you played basketball?
So I was a ballerina, and everyone on my team used to call me ballerina because I used to go from basketball practice to dance practice. So they just always like, oh, ballerina. Like, I was on the dance team and I was on the basketball team. So I had to choose at the end of the day because it was a bit too much, and I eventually chose basketball just because I see a brighter future in that. So, and everyone was like, girl, you're too tall to be dancing, like, come on. But it really helped with my posture, just me carrying myself. So I'm definitely thankful to just start dancing at such a young age. But
yeah, I guess that, like, I actually, like, I was hoping you were going to say hip hop, because the reason why I'm like not that good at basketball is because I actually spent I guess you say I quit dancing. I was always like playing basketball like for fun with my neighbor.
Yeah.
I guess you say I quit dancing to do more sports type stuff in 5th grade. So in 6th grade actually. Middle of 6th grade. So almost like similar to you in a way, except for I started playing basketball in 1st grade, but then in 2nd grade I did dancing from 2nd to the middle of 6th grade. And yeah, but I agree. Like, I mean, I realize now if I probably never even danced, I'd probably be on my school's basketball team.
Yeah.
Also, because I did dance, like, it gives me the confidence to, you know, talk to everybody and anybody, and like I could stand up and in front of like 1,000 people and like whatever, I won't care as long as it's like something easy. Like I really won't care. So I guess like it does have like its benefits, but yeah, I guess that's kind of cool. I've never met like a basketball player like, yeah, like I was dancing before.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the first, but yeah, I'm just totally thankful, like, just like how long I've came. I mean, I don't think anyone would look at me and be like, "Oh, she danced before she played basketball." If anything, I told people that they dropped their mouths like, "What?" But yeah. So I
Yeah.
wasn't a fully basketball player. So yeah.
Would you say you're one of the better like dancers out of like I guess the friend group kind of thing, or like if you're in with a basketball team and there's like a huddle and playing music, like are you probably the best one in the
No,
world? Yeah.
I can't do the hip hop dancing, but I mean, if you want me to do a TikTok dance, sure, I'll do that. But I would definitely have to say Alicia on our team, number one on our team. She's definitely the dancer on our team. She gets lit, but me and her together, we get the team lit together. But yeah, for the most part, Alicia is probably the best dancer on our team.
Yeah. So is that at all like, because for me, like as much as like it's fun like doing all that kind of dancing, like I feel like it's, even though no one even knows, like I feel like it's pressure on myself, like knowing like, man, you used to dance, and for you to just be like not even be the best one on your basketball team, like is that all little disappointing?
No, like we just like if we do, it's like in the locker room, and it's just like instant, like it's no like.
I know for me, like, I turn up personally. Like if it was a dance on the Geico Nationals, like I would have been going crazy. Right?
Well, guess what? I was responsible for the speaker, and I ended up forgetting it, and we were just warming up in silence, and I was like, "Geez, man, I hate it here," but thankfully they were playing some type of music in the stadium.
Yeah, actually, I would feel bad for you guys, but like because they had the same songs like the whole time, so they were playing whatever they played for you guys. I was like, it's nice to have that little break because they just play the same songs the whole time. So I mean, you guys kind of got the bad end to it, but like for us, they're staying there all day. It was a little refreshing.
I know, I bet.
Yeah. I mean, like I know one of the girls during the championship game. I don't know how I was like instilled in my head. One of the girls from Paul VI was just like singing like air singing the song, whatever. One of the old songs they played, and I don't know why, but I just won't forget that for whatever reason. But I want to talk about just that burst of like just blowing up all of a sudden from starting in 6th grade. Now you're the 11th ranked player in the country. Just I mean, when did you kind of have that big break that just blew you up?
I'm gonna have to say when I first started playing basketball, I really didn't take it that serious. Like I wasn't training on the side outside of practice like that. So, and I wasn't on an AAU team that gave me enough exposure either. I just like joined the AAU team just to play extra basketball during the summer because I had nothing else better to do. So, that was like to my 6th grade to my 8th grade year, and then I was still at the First Academy, which is like a little bit ways down from Lake Highland. So a small Christian school, played there. I got my first offer from South Carolina in 8th grade. So that was like, yeah, that was huge. Like people were like, South Carolina offered 8th grade. Like,
yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. So I was just at their basketball camp, and Dawn Staley told my dad, and she was like, I'll offer your daughter. And that really set it off for me. I was like, oh my gosh, like, okay, I can really see, like, I can see myself playing basketball in college. And so then I moved from Hoop Dreams Elite, which was my AAU team, to CFE, which is now my AAU team that I'm currently with our head coach for Lake Highland, Coach Al Honor. So after that's when colleges started mailing me letters, and I was like, I would see it on Instagram, like girls just posting mail like of college. I'm like, how do you get that? Like, but then like when it came to me, I'm like, oh, okay. But like it was my first time playing in front of thousands of coaches. I mean, Boo Williams, Chicago Nike Nationals, just big tournaments like that. And you're on a big stage, and there's just a whole bunch of college coaches watching you. I think it just helped me give a boost of energy. Like, okay, this is my time to shine. So that's when I think the rankings came out around my 9th grade year, and I wasn't ranked, like it was just like the list of the names. So it wasn't really a number next to it. And then I went to Lake Highland my 10th grade year, and then I was ranked, I think I was ranked number 13, or it was either 8 or 13. I can't remember. And then we had a great season. And so then I dropped to 39. And so, man, that was the worst, bro. When I saw that, I was like, what? I was like, how? Like, we are probably the best team in the country, and I'm ranked number 39. So I was like, bro, this doesn't even add up. So the guy that was ranking, Dan Olson or whatever his name is at the time, he ended up stepping down to just max preps. So then that was my first year on Lake Highland. So I got Florida Max Preps Player of the Year. I didn't get Gatorade because there's this one other guard in Fort Myers, Amaria Gordon. I don't know if you know her, but she kept getting it twice. So it was like kind of hard for me to get it. And then we just started playing a national schedule, and then premium basketball took over ESPN rankings. And then that's when they released another one, and then I ended up being number 11. And then my coach was like, that's pretty hot. Like he was like, that's good. Like, you're in some good shoes right now. Like, you could be top 10. I believe you can, but that's pretty good for where we are right now. So that's how I basically got to number 11. And then I just got what's it called? Like, inducted to the Gatorade Player of the Year. So like, my name's in the thing right now. Me and my other ex-teammate, she's going to college now for Alabama, Kayla Blackshear. So we're just waiting. It comes out in July or whatever. But yeah, I think just coming from like Florida Max Player of the Year, all leading scorer in state championships. I was leading scorer last year in this year in state championships, and last year. Getting interviewed by, Spectrum TV, things like that. It really boosted my, I want to say popularity, but, people knowing my name. So, when I go to gyms now, people actually know who I am, and they're like, oh, that's Nyla Harris. Like, you better, she has a target on her back. You better tear her up. Like, so I can't just walk around like, okay, I'm the number 11 player in the number 11 player in the country. Like, that's nothing, but to other people, that's something. Like, I want to take that. Like, I'm like nothing. So yeah, I think just like that's like the pathway to this, and I'm hoping that I have a great AAU summer and just move up in the rankings to at least the top 10. So yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, like, a lot of really cool stuff has happened to you throughout the years, but yeah. I assume, I guess the big break, I mean, it had to happen between 6th grade and 8th grade when you get an offer from South Carolina, because it's not like, it's like South Carolina is, one of the blue bloods or whatever, one of the powerhouse schools of women's college basketball. So just like, were you, I mean, I'm assuming you're pretty humble, but like, humbly, were you just a natural talent, or how'd you get good enough to receive an offer from South Carolina? Like that's like, I don't know if Bronny has an offer from Duke, like when he was in middle school, but that's like equivalent to that, like that's a pretty big deal. Were you just like natural talent or what?
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, she just said, like, she goes hard, like her motor, like she just has such a motor at a young age. Like, you don't really find that in young girls. And I'm not afraid to say that, because most girls are not as athletic as I am, aren't able to get up and down the court at my height, So I think that's like, that really speaks for itself, especially as me as a person. Like, not only am I a phenomenal rebounder, but I also am an athletic person. I can transition basketball all the time and not get tired. So it really comes from the athleticism. Like, she just saw that in me, and she was like, I immediately have to, because after she offered me, everyone offered me, literally. Like, they're like, oh, Don Staley offered her, let me offer her. Like, it was just a domino effect, literally.
Yeah, and we got to talk about the Nationals. It's obviously kind of where I probably seen your Instagram before, because it's like kind of what I do. I try to find like people to interview, but that was like, it's the first time I've seen you play before. So I guess we gotta talk about it. What was that experience like, playing on ESPN and having a chance at winning a Geico Nationals championship?
It was very weird. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, when I walked in there, I was like, you can tell it was filmed. Like, it looked like a movie set, literally. And like, like the boys, it's different. Like, they literally like Montverde and them, they literally stay on ESPN. Like there's a time when they're not. So like for us, it's our first time, and I just think it was a great experience for us. Like I definitely feel 100% positive that we will be back next year because we didn't lose as many people. We only lost one player, so we're still gonna be like the same team or even better. So just it's a blessing, honestly. Like 4 teams out of the whole entire country get invited to go to something like this, and although it wasn't in New York, hopefully it will be next year.
I hope not. Personally, I hope not.
Why?
Because the reason why, like, if it was in New York, I wouldn't have been there. So unless someone's flying me up there, or maybe I just come. Like if it was at Fort Myers, I guess like for you, it's like it's not close, but like it's only like 3 hours away. But that made it very, very awesome for people like me to be able to go there.
Yeah,
but New York
was a road drive. Unlike others, there was a flight. I was like, thank God we didn't fly all the way down here to lose, because that would have been bad. But I just think learning from it, that wasn't our best game. That was not. I'm not afraid to say it. That is not Lake Highland. Just letting y'all know that wasn't us. But that definitely helped us, understand that we got something to work on. We have some weaknesses. We're not just perfect. So yeah, that's pretty much, like, I think it was a great experience. I have never been to Geico Nationals, and for Brie Rivera, she was new, and to come in and you literally get to be on ESPN like you're like at the end of this season, that's awesome. Honestly, it's just regardless of losing, like just getting there to that point, shows how much perseverance we had, in this pandemic. It wasn't easy. We got shut down a week, and I have to give props to Politics. They haven't played since like February or something like that. They haven't played in a long time. So just like all these teams being able to, be strong even when they couldn't play in a certain amount of weeks and couldn't play in a certain amount of months and still be able to get to that point, it's really a blessing. So yeah.
And I would say you answered this question, but like I wasn't like some teams, when they lost, I was like, yeah, you deserve to be mad. But for the more teams like you guys, where I don't think, wait, are you guys a public school or you guys are a private school?
Private, yeah.
Yeah, so just for like the normal schools, not these big time prep schools where they're not in their state's league, they don't play for a state championship, which is usually the best thing you could play for. Like I feel like for any of those teams, like as soon as you lose, like why are you pissed? Like literally, like you technically like are not in the conversation. Like you aren't going to school and only doing basketball. Like you're going to a normal school, you're a normal kid, you're against players where all they do is do basketball and a little bit of school. Like I feel like it's a big deal for those like kind of smaller programs to get a chance to be on that platform. So were you guys kind of not extremely upset? Like you won a state championship and just kind of got to showcase your talents in ESPN. Like the worst case, it was a cool experience. That kind of what you guys thought at the end.
Yeah, at the end, we just thought it was a great experience. Of course, we're going to be mad, sad, tons of emotion everywhere around the room. But we really did eat, sleep basketball. There's so many times we had to sacrifice. I know for 2 weeks, I couldn't see anybody. I couldn't see any of my friends because we had to get COVID tested. So just a lot of sacrificing. We are the best team in Florida, but like as a whole, like just showing younger kids that look up to us, especially at our school, like you can do anything you put your mind to. I think like you run into that wall, and I think we ran into that wall at Geico, and you expect us to just, okay, we can't go back. But no, like if anything, next year when we get in practice, we're gonna remember that when we go to play in Geico. How much you want to bet Coach Al's going to print out the picture of Paul VI celebrating before we go out on the stage again? So it's just things like that we need to just be able to know, like, we don't want to be in that position again, ever. If anything, we want to hold that silver trophy next year. But yeah.
And getting that silver trophy, and I know they gave out like T-shirts and hats and stuff. Yeah. I know like for the NCAA tournament, obviously, sadly, like the girls didn't get anything near what the guys got, but like making the tournament, you got some like free gear, some perks. Did you guys get anything special just for making Geico Nationals?
Yeah, we got long sleeves, a little warm up. It says like who's next high school and all the teams on the back. And then we got some sweatpants, Nike sweatpants, say Geico Nationals on it. We got a backpack. Yeah, so Nike sent us some Giannis shoes to wear during the game. So, I mean, regardless of us winning or losing, like just the attention we get, and we've never had it like this before. Honestly, I mean, I haven't since I came there. It's been like this, but yeah.
Yeah, and you said like how it was just crazy, like walking on a movie set. Like that's kind of how it was for me too. Like I've never gone to an ESPN game before. Like I'm some random kid from South Florida. All of a sudden, like I walk in and I see like I think it was La Lumiere Prolific Prep, my first game. Like two teams I would never imagine being in the same room as, and I'm like this is insane. And then actually my first experience, I don't know if you know who Paul Biancardi is. He's like the guy that does the stuff for the boys.
Yeah, yeah.
I have to go to the bathroom. Like, you drove. Like, I have to go, obviously, like most people. And I'm in the bathroom, and then I'm doing my business, and then he walks in, like 2 urinals down. I look at it, and I'm like, there's no way. Like, that was the first thing I did, basically, was go to the bathroom, and all of a sudden, Paul Biancardi's like, like that was just an insane experience. So yeah, I mean, hopefully, you guys kind of get to come back next year and everything. But I guess my final question for you is just what do you want your legacy to be like once you step away from the game of basketball?
Just remember me not only as a player but as a person, and I just want to shed a light for all the younger kids that want to accomplish things like this, and just understand that you're gonna have nights where you don't feel like doing this anymore. You're gonna have days when you don't feel like going to practice, but just remembering in your head, okay, I have a goal, straight tunnel vision. Just don't let any distractions get in your way. Don't let anyone steer you away from what you are on. I think that's just like the biggest thing. Like, don't ever lose sight of what you're trying to pursue, because life is short, and you can't just, settle for this. And I think just the idea that life is short and you got to live life to the fullest. And even if that's if that's away from basketball, just doing something regards to basketball. Like I want to leave a legacy that it doesn't have to be all about basketball. You can do other things that involve basketball, but you don't have to play it. And I think like that's the biggest thing. Like I want to be an ESPN commentator. I love the WNBA, but I don't care for it. But I do want to be an ESPN commentator. I do want to be on TNT with a lot of NBA players, and another Candace Parker. So that's definitely like something I would say is just like my legacy is just being remembered not only as a player but as a person, and shedding a light onto younger peers. So yeah.
Yeah, and you actually like literally answered. I was about to ask like another quick question. I was gonna say like you were very like not like I could say like pretty professional. You sounded more like what I would imagine interviewing a WNBA player would be like, just like the responses. And I was gonna say like, oh, like how many interviews like have you done, like whatever. And then you said, oh, I want to be on ESPN TNT. Like makes a lot of sense now. But yeah, so I really appreciate you for your time and everything.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm very blessed to be able to talk to people like you and everything. But yeah, before we kind of end this interview, make sure you guys give us a follow on Instagram at the Nyla Harris, and I'm iHoopsFL. Anyways, yeah, I don't even know how does it sound. It's not like this. Is that how you do it?
Yeah.
Oh, bet. That was my first time doing that. I'll probably never do it again my whole life. But yeah, so for Lake Highland Prep, I think I'm doing for Lake Highland Prep, small forward Nyla Harris. I'm Isaac Fleischer, and this has been another iHoopsFL interview. Peace out, guys.